Good evening, it's William from WCP Models here. So this part of the build video is going to be for our Opel Blitz. It's some of our video instructions, and this video what we're going to do is cover the assembly of the front section, which is actually going to mount the body shell to, has the servo, and all the suspension will eventually mount to this piece as well. So I'm going to just take the servo out and show how this assembly is. So there's this part here, we have these angled parts, we have a front section, and then we've got these other sections that hide into the chassis rail as well. So these are metal chassis rails that we've actually milled, and we've already put in red oxide primer. So we'll put them to one side. We will need them in a little bit for our assembly. We're going to use our favourite solvent weld from EMA Models, and that will help us assemble this unit as well. And then once we've got it slightly assembled, we're going to start then putting in some of the metric hardware that we use just to pin it together. Right, so first of all, we obviously need to clean all the parts and just make sure they're all ready for assembly, and all the holes we need to make sure are pushed clear. Just make sure that there's not any like flashings or extra material in them. So we're just going to do that, and we can start the assembly. So now we'll probably have to manipulate this as we go along, but don't worry, just keep with us. So we're just going to put some solvent weld on these mating faces for this servo block to come in. So that's going to sit in there like that and like that. And what we're going to do is just use a bit more in these joins. Should be nicely sucked in via capillary action. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the chassis rails. We're just going to assemble them roughly where they need to be, just so it helps hold our assembly. And we just need to make sure that those angled bits sit on top of the chassis rail. Now what we're going to do is put this piece in. So we're just going to solvent weld the front, and the join will become much stronger once we get all the other parts. And that's just going to slide in. In fact, if I take this off like that, I'm going to slide in here like that, and butt up against there. I hope you can see that in the video clearly. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Slide it in. Okay, like that. Now what we'll do is we'll take this front piece, and we're just going to apply solvent weld on the mating face, and then that's going to then slide in on the front like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these metric bolts, but what I'm going to do first of all is just to help, we're going to soften the holes, and put these pins in. Now I might just put this down because it's going to be easier for me rather than to hold it up to the camera. So that's give me a second. Back again, sorry for that. I made a little bit of a boo-boo. I picked up the wrong size metric bolts. They're not M2. They're actually M2.5 in the front here, and we're just going to get those pinned in. Don't worry, the size of these metric bolts is actually in our instruction manual, which is provided with the kit, so that'll be nice and clear. Now potentially you could actually remove these later on. They're really only there to help the assembly process, but to be quite frank, I always leave them in because it just helps give it a a little bit more strength and rigidity. Right, okay, so now you can see that we have the front end, and I'm just going to put a little bit more salt and weld on all these joins because now they're final. Let's get them on the joint. Now what we would do is we would then take the servo and we then put the little screws in. I'm not going to do that just now, but I'm pretty sure you know how to put the screws in. These servos are provided with 2 little self-tapping screws that fit in there nicely and then hold it in place. I'm not going to do that because once this is all assembled, I'm going to be painting all these parts in the red oxide primer before paint. But there you have it. That's the front section for Opel Blitz. There'll be more videos coming soon, which will be building the rest of the chassis piece up. All right, thank you for listening. Good night.